Welcome to episode 863 of the Rascalz podcast, where tonight we are recapping TNA Slammiversary 2024. And as you all know, whatever reason, there is a decent following that actually follow along and look for this episode whenever I do TNA recaps, because the big four are the ones I always do. I always like to do a little recap on some of the other ones, but TNA Slammiversary, a lot of title changes tonight, which is not uncommon for previous Slammiversaries of old. I know the first thing that's going to be that overlying storyline that everybody, all my podcast wrestling brothers, are going to talk about. Okay, we know that on Wednesday we talked about the TNA NXT exchange. I didn't talk too much about it. I waited till the very end of the program to talk about it, but I did. And one of the things that right off the bat, I saw somebody right out there. We want to see Joe Henry win the title. TNA needs to do that. No, they don't. No, they don't. Joe Henry has been a character they have been working on for years. I still remember when Joe Henry came out. Man, what was it that he was doing? He was with somebody. Oh my goodness. How did he start off? Because it was a goofball character at first. And I forget which female he kept coming out on in front of on a regular basis. But like, you know, when you look at what he's done so far, I got to go back and look. Because in TNA, he's been around for a long time. And of course there's been push for people to go ahead and see him move forward in the mix to make him eventually become, world champion. I get it. For NXT, I'm sure they would have loved that. I'm sure they would have loved it. But no, they're not doing that yet. So when it comes to TNA, I remember they first debuted him, it was 2018. Grado. Oh my God, that's how you remember. This is, you have to understand this. Again, is 6 years ago. He comes into the space during the tapings in Windsor, Ontario, at St. Clair College, right? And July 5th episode of Impact. So again, we're talking 6 years ago. He was a joke character, okay? He was working alongside Grado. And because, along with Grado, he was trying to make Katarina his girlfriend. Do you remember that? So you have to remember, there was like that part that was going on to make something out of this. And the same thing goes along with, that's right, it was Katrina, right, oh my goodness, they call her Katarina, but she was also Winter. Oh my goodness, I forgot how far back that goes. So that's how far back we go with this particular storyline. And the thing is with him is that they put him in this, in a team with Grado, and Joe Henry just became like this goofy figure, but eventually he became much more serious for whatever reason. Went to Ring of Honor as part of the storyline over there under Tony Khan. When Tony Khan took over Ring of Honor, brought him in, and then 2022 back over to TNA, and ever since they brought him back, I don't know if Scott D'Amore was going to book him to a point of this, but I mean, now that Tommy Dreamer's had the pencil for a while, I guess they wanted to go this route. They've been doing something where they wanted to go this here. Because remember, he was internet champion. Then they move along with him, and it's like something goes along where they feel like, okay, they think now we can do something with him, and where they feel like they can make him more important. So Impact 1000, he's in the Feast or Fired match. He takes on a YouTuber at Turning Point of last year. And then he competes in the Glasgow Cup and during the UK Invasion Tour last October and beats Rich Swann in the semifinal and Kazarian in the final to win the tournament. Then his song gets popular. The song we've heard, I Believe in Joe Henry, it charts. Now, it didn't hit the big charts, but like, okay, Capitol Radio, they're putting out their official Big Top 40 charts. On the official chart itself, it is a downloadable song, sales song. It did well. So there was a lot of what can be said about that. Now, when it comes to Joe Henry, you can't just move him all the way up to the world title just like that. So for the NXT faithful, the WWE fans that do not watch TNA, and especially for those of you fans that abandoned TNA for years, okay? Haram. Get away. Don't talk to me. if you are any of those people that decided to go and leave TNA, during the downtime, right? After Bischoff and Hogan kind of did their mess with it, and you didn't like they or them, and you didn't like aces and eights, you know what? Haram. Go on. Go on. Don't talk to me about TNA. You cannot talk. I still kept trying to watch this show through Pop TV, through Pursuit Channel, all the way to Access. Okay? Am I the most perfect watcher of TNA right now? Not necessarily. I do put it on every Thursday. I'm usually late for it, but I catch on to the storylines. I find my way to watch it. It's just Access TV is just not a good channel, man. They don't put it on streaming anywhere. It sucks. And I could get Fight Network in Canada. So I wish they had it somewhere where they were streaming. And I know they're trying to find a new home for it eventually. I've already said this before, that the NXT TNA difference has not made a difference. We got one match that was the interpromotional that really was encompassing NXT's presence at the show, right? And that was Rascalz and No Quarter Catch Crew. And people were bored by it, from what I saw. Not the crowd. Montreal, Verdun Auditorium, heralded place, jam-packed to the gills. They talked about it was since 2014, since they had a crowd that big. I think it was 3,500 was the last time they had a crowd that big for that show. Yeah, they did really well. So I'm very happy to see that they got to this point for themselves. But, and I'm trying to think about what was the last time they were actually at that level. So 2013, if we go back in the history books, that was at the Elegance Arena. That was in Boston. So that's normally where they would have, TNA has been doing those shows originally for Dynamite in Boston at the Boston University campus arena. That's where that is. But that was that show. And that was Sting and Bully Ray for the TNA World title. That was 2013. And then the next one they had after that would have been, College Park Center, Arlington, Texas. And again, that was another big story where they had that going on. And again, almost 4,000 people were on that. So good on them. They were doing pretty good on that. And Eric Young was World Heavyweight Champion at that point, beating Bobby Lashley and Austin Aries at that point. That tells you how far back we go. But now we move all the way forward to 2024, 4,000 plus. In Verdun Auditorium, the crowd looked great. Yeah, you want to go and say they always have a little bit too dark in the arena? That's because they always do. You know why? Because that auditorium's old. What do you want them to do, man? They're not in some big, nice new arena. In some of the cases they have, they're going to pick what they're going to pick. But Montreal, great crowd tonight. Love it. And let's go into the card itself. All right, so getting back to Joe Henry. So he doesn't win the World Heavyweight title tonight. You guys that wanted him to go and be booked to be winning champion, that's fine with you. He did get the pin on Moose. I think what they booked tonight was correct. He pins Moose to eliminate. So he pinned the world champion. Let's just make that clear. But then you need to build a feud. This is like LA Knight should be winning, be WWE champion. No, you build these people up. So TNA, in the right booking decision, they're going to book him with a heel-turned Josh Alexander. It's the right time for Josh Alexander to do it. His face run has run its course. He's been champion. He's been, we haven't seen him as, back when he was tag team champions with Ethan Page, and we had the North. Great tag team, by the way. Great tag team. But I will say this now. I will tell you this. I wouldn't have a problem if Ethan Page teamed up with Alexander. Now that they're both heels, let them team up as the North in this exchange. I'll take that. NXT can have that. You can have that little nugget right there, okay? You don't want to put Ethan Page out there holding that, defending the NXT title? Go right ahead. You know what? Then bring Josh Alexander in. Revisit the North. I would love that. Ooh, that sounds good. Anyway, so we get a program now, a long program we'll get to Bound for Glory with Joe Henry, Josh Alexander. Love it. Because now you're going to legitimize Joe Henry to a level where he's not going to be just a catchphrase. He's not going to be just a song. We need to build this guy to be a legitimate world champion. Listen, when Eric Young finally got to be world heavyweight champion in TNA, he wasn't Super Eric. He wasn't a goofball like it was before. He was serious. And Eric Young, to the credit, was built as a very good champion. And he was really good. I mean, even today, that guy working in the background, takes a quick, surprise victory over Hammerstone tonight. And then the Militia, I like the mashup of Militia with Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich. They're the only people in the system that actually did anything tonight because they were able to go and retain the Knockouts World Tag Team titles. Kushida now is coming out as Hakushi in a storyline that was kind of going along with the Jonathan Gresham character, but they scrapped that match. So Kushida and Rich Swann took on each other. And then you had a four-way match with Tasha Steelz, Fabi Apache, Giselle Shaw, and Zia Brookside, and Tasha Steelz won, keeping her strong within the women's knockout division. Now, interesting decision to put Broken Matt Hardy first with JDC. Now, JDC is Johnny Durango Curtis. I was trying to figure that out. I actually like it much better than Dirty Dango, to be honest. You could have called him just JD Curtis, but you know what? JDC, fine. That works. Part of the system, the attack on Rebby Sky and Jeff. Okay. Broken Matt, you want to put him in the curtain jerker, quick win, fine. But in normal TNA fashion, I would expect was what we got next was the TNA World Tag Team titles. You know what? ABC, I got to say this too. I've always been a bit surprised on when they do put tag teams together. TNA, to their credit, they are not afraid of pairing teams together and making it happen, or splitting teams up and making the singles run go. Because I was thinking about that tonight. I'll have more to say about that when we get to Mike Santana and Jake something. But with ABC and the system, look, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, they retained the World Tag Team titles since they were Bullet Club. And that all changed. Now ABC, they got a new song coming out there, and it's like, that team's going to be a team. I never really thought in my mind we would get to the point that Chris Bay and Ace Austin would stay a tag team. I never put that in my mind thinking that was going to stay like that. I've been surprised to see that. Pleasantly surprised. I like that they got a good team, and they are very well succinct. That's, of the tag teams that are out there, it's one of the best that's not on AEW or WWE. Period. ABC is one of the best tag teams out there, bar none, that is not owned by Tony Khan or TKO Group Holdings. They can run with any tag team in WWE. I'll just say that. Listen, we got a 6-man, a 6-tag team eliminator, something like that. Next gauntlet match, whatever it is, next week on SmackDown for the tag team titles. They go against Aussie Down Under. And I looked at the teams that are going to be in that. I'm like, I got to look that up again. Hold on. Let me look that back up because I saw what SmackDown's going to have next week. And I'm saying to myself, you're seriously going to have all this going on with SmackDown next week. And I look at the teams they have that are going to be featured coming up as part of it. And I got to see who they have once again that's going to be a part of that match. Because I saw it and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you really going to put that group together for the tag team titles? The tag team championship number 1 contenders gauntlet match. Okay, I wanted to see the 6 teams they had in here. Pair them up against ABC. Street Profits, ABC would have a go against them. Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin would beat them. Bloodline, probably somewhere in the middle. You could go either way. Legado del Fantasma, absolutely could swipe the floor with them. Pretty Deadly, yes. OC, yes. So we got those are 6 tag teams right now in the WWE, and I will take it, and I'll say that ABC is a better team than any of those right there. Any of them. You want to criticize me, go right ahead. But you know what? This is me being a fan because I enjoy all the products, okay? And this is where you can't pin me down to say I'm an AEW mark or a WWE mark. No. I also love TNA. I've been a TNA fan for a long time. I'm very excited. I've been very enthusiastic about the fact that they brought the TNA brand back, and I like where they've gone with it. And I think that ABC is a hell of a team right now to take over the system and get the belts back. That's great. Now on the Mike Santana and Jake something. If we would have talked about them 5 years ago, it was LAX and the Deaners. And, this match was a bit of a proving ground for me, I felt like. Like a proving ground match, like in Ring of Honor before they moved over to Tony Khan. It's that. It's where Mike Santana, he wants to solidify himself as a single star, which TNA gave him the chance to do right now. They haven't done, they've given him a lot of time out there. They gave him matches, and they're building it up. They're just trying to go ahead and move forward. They've given the great chance to have him really share deep his family story and his own background of what he's gone through and making his way back into this space now, coming back into wrestling and coming back into TNA here as a single star. Jake Something also coming back last year because this is somebody that Scott D'Amore liked. And, Jake Something's still here. They had a really good match together. Surprisingly very good. I didn't know how well the chemistry was going to be between them, but it was really good. I enjoyed this match as well. Rascalz, No Quarter Catch Crew. Look, No Quarter Catch Crew, it was nice to go and see that NXT sent this crew over here. Charlie Dempsey is the name to look at, and I wish he wasn't being anchored by two other talents that, just are not really, I'm not getting much out of this. But of course, we know they did a pretty good job in storyline on TNA to build up the No Quarter Catch Crew coming in eventually, bringing their numbers in, and always getting the best of the Rascalz, whether it was Trey Miguel or Zachary Wentz. But then Wesley comes back in after the Rascalz reunite in NXT, and now they brought him over here. Hey, people were happy to go and see the Rascalz together. Fine. But the Rascalz will be much more interesting what they do in NXT, obviously. They're kind of like more into that sense, whatever they decide to do. I wasn't really much interested in the match. It wasn't horrible, wasn't, too bad, but there were some boring comments I saw on that. So I'm like, okay, well, people didn't really resonate with that too much. PCO and basically took on First Class because AJ Francis, he needed all the help he can get. Montreal Street Fight for the TNA Digital Media Championship, Canadian International Heavyweight Championship, PCO. I mean, damn, man. This guy, I don't know how he can still do what he does. This guy is a freak of nature. This guy he's it's like, I need to quote Ivan Drago. He's like sharp like iron. He just keeps getting up. He's still great, man. I mean, and I must give credit for AJ Francis. What they've done with AJ Francis now here, by the way, I got to say this too. Something to be said about the allowance of certain stars from MLW to also work in TNA because, AJ Francis and Sami Callihan both work in MLW in some way, shape, or form. With AJ Francis having a great feud with Alex Kane of the Boomerang Fight Club, taking over that organization. I love that shit. That was really good from what they had at Battle Riot. By the way, I gotta say, Blood and Thunder, fantastic as well. Even with Sami Callihan, Matt Riddle, and the no ropes match, ridiculous these matches. But Blood and Thunder also very good. I got to watch on Wednesday. That was really fun. I got to go talk about it probably on the Wednesday show. I might go ahead and bring it up. But AJ Francis, I love the role he has right now. Quite a group with Smoke Dizza, Josh Bishop being involved, and PCO could not be taken down, and they did everything to him. And PCO, a couple of moonsaults, and he neutralizes AJ Francis. Steph DeLander in the latest romantic storyline. You know what? I got to say this too. On Thursday, I saw Steph DeLander on the beach, and I guess she was in Australia, in her home country, and they were doing the whole love letter to PCO. That was pretty cool. And by the way, AJ Francis is a dick because he did, they're in the first date for them. He was that's one of the things I remember watching on TV was Steph DeLander getting table shot into the table that they were having the date on, and PCO getting attacked by first class. That's crazy. But PCO gets the win, and Steph DeLander proposes to PCO, and PCO accepts. Isn't that sweet? Just love it. By the way, Steph DeLander, she looked great. Got the whole goth schoolgirl thing like going on. That was really cool. Jordynne Grace, Ash by Elegance. They set this up at NXT Battleground. Funny, this is a story that actually initiated NXT Battleground because Jordynne Grace was cost the NXT Championship when she took on Roxanne Perez and did not win because of the interference by Ash by Elegance overall. So 12 minutes into the match. By the way, Dana Brooke as Ash by Elegance, I like the character, the personal concierge. He's a goof. It works. And the Ash by Elegance character, it looks awesome. But again, it's a very elaborate gimmick. It's almost, they wanted to try to be like a Timeless Tony Storm, a little bit to that effect. But, they're not going to make Ash by Elegance, become world champion or Knockouts World Champion or anything like that, I guess. Because that character alone doesn't need a belt. I just feel like that. So Jordynne Grace wins. By the way, there was still a lot of plunder in that match as well. But seeing Jordynne Grace win, that was the right move. I thought it was going to be Ash by Elegance. I did call the upset, but I was wrong. I don't know why, but I just felt like they could have gone that route, and I don't think it would have hurt it too much. But Jordynne Grace still the juggernaut. She's still kicking ass, and they got to find somebody else to give her now. I don't like the fact that she got beaten in NXT by Roxanne Perez, but I mean, but then again, I have a thing where I wouldn't want to see Jordynne Grace or Roxanne Perez lose when they're both champions, but I get it. They did set that up, so they did protect Jordynne Grace to an extent. And I don't know who you have next that comes into the space to take her on. I don't know if it's somebody within that women's roster right now, on the Knockout roster. You know what? Personally, if people could forgive Tessa Blanchard for all the comments that she made, and maybe the mea culpa's been done, maybe the exile from TNA and wherever else she's working at, where she was working at WoW for a while, and that's pretty much all she can work at. I would love for her to get a chance to go ahead and get the mea culpa, find her way back in good graces and bring her back in to take on Jordynne Grace, because I'd like to go and see that. Or does Jordynne Grace put the belt up and some other guys that try to go ahead and start getting in her way, and she decides to fight another guy? I don't know. Get Sami Callihan back in there again because he don't mind. But Jordynne Grace is great. I mean, you just got to give her some other people on the roster that are built up to the point where you can see something there. Oh, by the way, we had Rosemary come out in blonde. Another transformation, another evolution of the Rosemary character is good because she did need to change. And now I need to find out what they're going to do. Now, is Rosemary going to be a new character where she's going to be on the attack of Jordynne Grace, but Rosemary attacked Ash by Elegance. So I guess Ash by Elegance and Rosemary need to go to Battle for Glory and get their shit resolved. And then Jordynne Grace needs to be graced with another opponent. Whoever that might be. I don't know. But we'll figure out. Mike Bailey, Mustafa Ali, 20 minutes of this match. This match was awesome. Trent Seven, who was neutralized and isolated by Mustafa Ali during their run as Speedball Mountain. And Trent Seven returns, disguised, helps out Mike Bailey, but Mike Bailey gets the win. Again, X Division Champion. Rock on. In his hometown. Good for him. So that was a good thing. Also a nice, wonderful moment. A lot of titles getting changed around tonight. As I said, that is not the first time I've seen that on a Slammiversary show, to see 4 or 5 titles get switched. But they decided to go that route tonight. No problem with me. And as for the 6-way elimination for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, Macklin goes out first. But I think he's former champion, man, and just drops right out. Don't know what they're going to do with him next. But I can see where Macklin or Mike Santana could go ahead and butt heads, or, something. I wish they would do something more with Hammerstone. I don't know why they keep making him lose. That's the other part I don't get. That's something there. And now that Josh Alexander has gone heel, I wonder if he would team up with someone like Hammerstone. If those guys would be on the same page now, that'd be interesting. I actually would like that as a tag team if you decided to do that. Now, you had Kazarian also in there. Looked like he could have had a chance, but always they make it look like he could have a chance. And then you have Moose goes out first. Macklin and Moose, Kazarian, and then we get Nic Nemeth and Josh Alexander to go ahead and finish up in this elimination match. Nic Nemeth made the debut at Hard to Kill, and 6 months later, they put him to the ringer and put him in a match of Rebellion where he didn't get a chance to win, but they didn't just gift him the belt. They put him in a run for 6 months. They put him through the ringer in a lot of matches in order for him to finally go and get his chance to go ahead and become World Heavyweight Champion. I like it. Listen, you can't go wrong with Nic Nemeth being champion right now. The most wanted man. And, a lot of feuds you can have right now with, a plethora of people that you want to put up against. But now that he has the belt, it's a matter of which young talent I hope will get a chance to go up against him. I would love it to be like a Hammerstone, but obviously they beat him tonight. So, there's not him. Macklin, I don't think they'd give it to him. I just want to find out who is in line that they could put up against Nic Nemeth now for that World Heavyweight title. 31 minutes for the match. Long, but it was very good. And overall tonight, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. The matches I did miss was the Knockouts Tag Team title match. I just caught it late. Like I said, I caught Eric Young and Hammerstone in the pre-show, and that's all I caught. That's all I was able to get to. It's just running a little bit late. But overall, I enjoyed the show. It encompasses the fact that TNA, they do things very detailed. They do take the time to kind of really work on who they're going to work with. I mean, the Rascalz match was a throwaway because it was just more like an interpromotional, more like an exhibition match. So nothing really mattered much in that. The fact of how they used Mike Santana and Jake something, and they had a good match out of them. Not a long match, didn't need to be. But they're definitely trying to go and do something to get one of those two super over, if they can do it. ABC is still a great tag team, and the fact they beat the system, now the system needs to regroup. I don't know if they stay together, if they just fizzle out. And by the way, the pun on the smoked out part is, in Montreal, they're very known for doing the smoked meat stuff. Like when you go to Montreal, that's what you go get when you go there for food. One of the things, the delicacies they make over there in Montreal. So if anybody wants to know what that I was talking about by that, that's what I meant. Thank you. But I enjoyed the pay-per-view. I thought it was an A. Again, the only match that kind of just I didn't pay attention to too much was Rascalz. But again, that it's an exhibition. It's fine. It's nice to see them come back together from the treehouse. Just don't bring the treehouse to NXT. Please don't do that. I don't want that to happen. But I don't think they make a big deal of the whole smoking kind of thing anyway, because that's more of the TNA thing. And I think NXT looks down upon it. Personally, I think that's what they kind of do. But it also takes away what their gimmick was. They're kind of like, fans of that 70s show. Come on now, right? That's my recap of Slammiversary. Thanks for listening to the program. Finding as you always do, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on the YouTube. Thank you for finding the show and listening in. I really appreciate all of you listening in on the program. Come back this Wednesday for another Rascalz podcast because wrestling needs us.